Well, hey, welcome back. You'll notice we're not in our normal location. We're actually on a little family trip up in Oklahoma. And I told my wife it's my vacation too, so I brought my bow. I've got a target set up here at 30 yards, and I'm just kind of cycling through my releases. So I've got my TruBall T-Rex, I've got my Carter Evolution, and I've got my Whalen's hooker. We're going to shoot all three and just see what the impact change is on my target. I'm set up at about 30 yards. I do apologize for the sound. I forgot to bring my normal microphone that I use, and the property next door is under construction and the property across the road is under construction. You can also hear the cars coming up and down the road, so you'll have to forgive the sound. But we're going to get started here. I've shot a couple warm-up rounds, got my shoulders loose. I'll wait for the trucks to go by. It's like the fifth dump truck full of gravel to come in here. I don't know, there must be a road building. Anyway, so we're gonna get started. TruBall T-Rex. We're at 30 yards. We're gonna put 3 arrows on the target and we'll go look at them. All right, first group with the TruBall. I'll tell you what, this little MXR is quite the shooter. It always has been since the day I got it. But that's a decent group. Looks like I'm just a tad high, but pretty much right where I want to be. So let's go bust out the next release and see where those hit. All right, next one up, Carter Evolution, back tension. With the Evolution, if anything, left and rights are about the same, maybe just a tad lower impact. But other than that, still groups fairly well. I can probably do better than that, but that's just what it is today. And now we're gonna go with the Whalen's hooker. This is a back tension release, but it's not a hinge. So it's got a fixed head. You still activate it like a hinge, but instead of the head moving, it just slips off, the loop just slips off the end of the hook. I've been shooting this 2 different ways, so maybe I'll do both. We'll start with the first one, see what it looks like. So that's shooting it with 3 fingers and kind of relaxing my hand to get it to fire. And for the Whalen hooker, as you can see, it's definitely got a different impact point, and that's because of the way the string comes off that head. Because the string just slips off and it actually kind of throws the string left ever so slightly. At least that's my assumption. So it creates a little bit different impact point. So all 3 of these releases have their pros and cons. I like the TruBall. It fits my hand best. It's super accurate. When I'm shooting with it and I'm really grooving with it, I can stack arrows out to 50 yards with it. Feels great. Problem is I can get a little punchy with it. The Carter Evolution, it is not the most accurate release. It's not the most consistent release, but it's my baseline. It gets me back to just pulling through my shot. It takes away all the anticipation because there's no way to punch that thing. You just have to stop and pull. This hooker, on the other hand, this thing has been a little bit of a learning curve for me because I initially bought this and I couldn't shoot it to save my life. Took a little bit, took some, I actually had to take a break from it. So I bought it, I shot it for a little bit on and off, and I put it away, and I didn't touch it for a couple months. But I've pulled it out here this last while and been shooting it some more, and obviously I'm getting some decent groups out of it. One thing I'm realizing, now that I've got multiple releases I'm shooting, you have to tune your bow to your primary release. If you have one release that you plan on shooting primarily with that bow, tune the bow to that release. And for me, that's this one. This is what I'm primarily going to shoot that bow with. So this is what I use when I'm doing all my tuning, everything else. So when I'm shooting these two releases, I can see a little bit of funky arrow flight, but I'm not worried about it because I know they fly straight with this one, and this is the primary release. These two I consider training aids. They do different things for me, and then this is the primary release I like to shoot. Oklahoma's a pretty place. You know, we got this nice little cabin that we've rented, a little Airbnb, and we're just having a great time here in the woods. It's been quiet, minus the construction across the road. I think they're doing tile today. It's really loud. But yeah, just shooting here through the trees. It's been fun. So the way I've been shooting this 3-finger is I get pulled and drawn into it. I let off this. Then all I'm doing is just relaxing my hand. I'm kind of subconsciously pushing my fingers out like this, and that's what allows it to fire. And it's creating a true surprise shot for me. It's a little uncomfortable feeling, but it's, man, I group well with it. Let's shoot another round like that. All right, I want to shoot a few more rounds with this, with 3 fingers on it, doing the relaxed hand method. I think I shoot it better that way. It's a little uncomfortable because it's like, it's a true surprise release for me. And it makes me relax in the shot versus being really tense when I pull into it. Something chewing on the back of my leg here. Well, that's embarrassing. All right, 3 fingers, relaxed shot. 30 yards on the morel. Well, it shoots well when I do my job. I knew I was a little right when that one broke. Those 2 dropped right in there, though. Maybe I want to see something else. How about we do some up-close slow-mo and just see what my release break looks like after the shot. I honestly think they all have their benefits. That's why I have all 3. Now, the TruBall is the primary release that I shoot most of the time, especially when I start getting out to distance, because that's when I have a little command over, which is the problem. I can command it, I can punch it, and I am a notorious trigger puncher. Actually, that's why I stopped shooting my bow for well over 10 years. I got to the point I couldn't put the pin on the target and just squeeze the trigger. But I've got the Carter Revolution. It's a great release. I think it's a training tool. The hooker, same thing. But on the other hand, man, I have been, since I started shooting this again, I've been shooting it pretty well. I'm liking it. That release, when I get in here, and all I'm doing is I'm just kind of relaxing my hand. You know, I'm opening my hand this way during the shot. And it's giving me some nice surprise releases, and I'm surprisingly holding really steady. I'm not really focused on the pin as much. I'm more worried on the execution with this, but the pin seems to hold really steady with this one. More so than it does with this one. When I'm shooting this one, I definitely get pretty good float. But with this one, I'm not worried about hitting the middle. This one's all about execution. That's all I care about. I think this thing has some potential. I want to shoot it some more because I'm actually really enjoying this release these days. I did not, when I first got it, I did not like this thing that much, but I'm liking it more and more every day. So the thing I'm realizing with this release is I gotta stop and think about it. I can't just stand up here and just kind of mindlessly shoot. TruBall, I can get away with that. Even on days when I'm not shooting great, I can still shoot this one decent. I am finding with this one, I've got to be all in on the shot. I can't be worried about other things. I can't be thinking about other stuff. That's the challenge with this one. And because archery is kind of, that's my thing. This is my relaxation. This is my therapy. So there's a lot of times when I come out and shoot, I'm not thinking about shooting my bow. This is just what I'm doing while I'm working through whatever's on my mind that day. This one, on the other hand, I got to be all in to get it to shoot well. And right now, it's shooting pretty well. Let's go look at that group. Well, not another bad group. 30 yards with a release. I'm still learning how to shoot properly. I'll take it. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Today's our last day here at the cabin. We're gonna go out to the lake today and play in the water for a while. And so yeah, I'm gonna shoot a few more rounds and wrap it up. Thanks for coming along. I've got some videos coming up, so please check in soon. It's just finding the time to record them. That's the hardest part. So I appreciate the views and the clicks. Hit like if you're enjoying this stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Well, that's not a bad group at all, especially at 30. I'm thinking I'm gonna set my target bow up to this release and start shooting this consistently. I think it'll be good for me. That was a terrible shot.